Before we dive into today's ideas, pause for just a moment. Look around your garden. What do you see? Perhaps a few empty bottles, broken cups, a bent spoon, or even an old umbrella tossed in the corner. At Crafted Nest, we believe these aren't trash. They're beginnings. In this video, we're not just showing you DIYs. We're inviting you into a different way of seeing how the forgotten can become fairy lights, how rust can turn into rhythm, and how broken things can still bloom again. Each project you're about to discover has been carefully chosen not just for its beauty, but for its soul. From bottle cap murals to teacup bird feeders, from rusty pan clocks to plastic bottle greenhouses, this is more than decor. It's storytelling. It's restoration. It's art built with patience and joy shaped by your own hands. So if you've ever felt too small to make a difference, or if you've looked at trash and seen nothing but waste, this video is for you. And hey, if you love content like this, handmade, heartfelt, and rooted in imagination, don't forget to subscribe to Crafted Nest. Hit the like button, leave us a comment, and share this video with someone who needs a little magic in their garden today. Let's build something beautiful, one scrap at a time. Let's begin. In a quiet corner of the garden, where flowers bloom with secrets and the air carries the hum of something unseen, small wonders dwell. They are not bought or manufactured. They are born from silver spoons and the quiet hands of dreamers. These are spoon fairy dolls. Once forgotten in drawers, each spoon now stands tall, reborn with painted faces and delicate gowns stitched from lace remnants and old fabric. Their wings shimmer softly, made from mesh, dried leaves, or even petals gathered from the morning's bloom. No two fairies are ever the same. Some are shy, tucked beneath snapdragon stems. Others brave, dancing from branches as the breeze lifts them ever so gently. They don't move, but you'd believe they just might. Each one tells a story of reuse, of quiet imagination, of moments spent crafting something gentle in a noisy world. They don't shout for attention. They wait to be seen, to be believed in, to remind us that beauty often hides in what was once discarded. Parents kneel with children, placing new fairies beneath daisies. Laughter bubbles as wings flutter in the wind. Time slows. And perhaps, in the hush between the rustle of leaves, if you listen closely, you'll hear them whisper, "Thank you for seeing us." This isn't just a DIY project. It's a ritual, a way to plant not only flowers, but belief in creativity, in reuse, in the quiet magic of making something out of nothing. So, if you find a spoon today, don't throw it away. Paint it, dress it, give it wings, and watch your garden bloom in more ways than one. In a forgotten corner beneath flowering vines, where moss grows thick and petals fall like confetti, a tiny house quietly stands. It was not built with bricks, not shaped by rules, but imagined. Once it was nothing: a dented pot, a bent spoon, a scattering of bottle caps rusting in the shadows of use. Trash, some might say, but not here, not in this garden. Here, someone saw more. They painted soft pastels over rust, turned metal into magic, gave broken things a door, a window, a roof, a life. And now, the fairy house lives, nestled among foxgloves and daisies that lean in like neighbors. Its crooked chimney leans charmingly. Its path winds gently through pebbles and moss. And on the tiny wooden sign nailed just above its arched door, words written with care: "Fairies welcome." It is not perfect, but it is whole. Not because it was new, but because it was loved. Children wander into the garden and freeze when they spot it. They crouch low, eyes wide, imaginations open. "Do fairies live there?" they whisper. Maybe. Or maybe it's the spirit of hope that dwells there, the kind that sees beauty in the broken, purpose in the discarded. This house is not decoration. It's a lesson, a promise that even when something's been thrown away, it can be held again. given shape, given color, given wonder. So, the next time your hands hover above the trash, pause. Could this be a roof? A window? A wall? And if so, could you build a place for wonder to live? Just before night folds the sky into indigo, the garden begins to breathe differently. Shadows stretch longer, and every petal seems to lean into the quiet hush of twilight. Then, one by one, the lights awaken. Hanging from branches like forgotten memories, the bottles begin to glow. Once destined for landfills, crumpled plastic, empty glass, they now hold something more than light. They hold possibility. Each bottle lantern is hand-painted with the soft brushstrokes of imagination: lavender, seafoam, pale gold. Inside, small fairy lights flicker gently, casting dancing shadows across ivy leaves and foxglove petals. Some carry cutout shapes of wings, so when the wind stirs, tiny fairies appear to leap across the garden floor. It's not a performance. It's not a display. It's a quiet kind of magic. You don't need to spend money to fill your evenings with wonder.
Just your time.
A bottle, some paint, wire, and a light. That's all. And yet somehow, it transforms the ordinary into the sacred. Children gather underneath them with wide eyes. Parents sit quietly, smiles tugging at their lips. The world softens. A sign dangles from the largest branch, painted in curling script. Let the light in. And truly, that's what these lanterns do. They don't just brighten your garden. They brighten the moment. So, the next time you hold an empty bottle, don't toss it away. Wash it. Paint it. Hang it. Give it the chance to shine again. And maybe, just maybe, it will light the way for you and for someone else. They were once soldiers in the rain, battered, bent, forgotten after the storms. Broken umbrellas, their ribs exposed, their fabrics torn, meant for trash. But in this garden, broken things are invited to bloom. Tilted just so, their tattered canopies now catch light, not raindrops. Repainted in swirls of mint, lavender, sunflower yellow, they form a sky of quiet celebration above the flowers. Some are upright, shading begonias from the midday blaze. Others hang upside down, transformed into floating planters overflowing with trailing blooms. They hover like clouds caught mid-bloom. The garden smiles in colors. Vines reach up as if to greet their new roofs. Ferns nestle in the shadows beneath. There's shade, yes, but also story. Because each umbrella speaks of a second chance, of shelter reimagined. Visitors pause beneath the makeshift awnings. Children laugh beneath them, pretending it's raining petals. And somewhere nearby, a sign leans gently in the soil, painted in soft script, shade and bloom. It's not just beautiful, it's poetic. It reminds us that coverage can come from the most unexpected places. That even what no longer protects can still provide. That in the right light, even a broken frame can become sanctuary. So the next time the wind breaks your umbrella and the ribs bend just enough to give up, don't toss it. Paint it. Hang it. Fill it with soil and life. Let it shade not your sorrow, but your creativity. Because in this garden, even what's upside down can become a roof for growth. The path doesn't lead to a door, nor to a gate. It leads somewhere softer, into wonder. Under the summer sun, the garden glows, not from flowers or fountains, but from what lies beneath your feet. A winding trail, hand-laid piece by piece, made from what the world once called useless. Broken CDs, silent and scratched, now sing again, this time in color. Each shard holds memory, a song once played, a photo once stored. Now, fractured into tiny pieces, they are reborn, not as data, but as light. Together, they form a mosaic that shifts with every step. One moment blue, the next gold. Then suddenly, violet glimmers stretch across the soil like tiny northern lights. Children chase the colors. Adults pause, cameras in hand. Bees hover near, mistaking the rainbows for wild petals. And nearby, tucked into the edge of the path, a wooden sign smiles. Walk the rainbow. There is no wrong way forward here, only beauty beneath each step. And that's the magic of this path. It doesn't just guide you through the garden. It invites you to see differently, to notice how even the discarded can dazzle. That broken doesn't mean worthless. That scattered doesn't mean lost. So gather your old CDs, snap them gently, let them crack and curl into prismed pieces. Line them in patterns, follow the shimmer, and one day, when the light hits just right, you'll walk your own mosaic of memories, each step reminding you that wonder is never wasted. At the foot of an old tree, where roots twist like stories and shadows stretch like lullabies, a door waits. It isn't grand. It's barely the height of a child's hand. But it is magical. Made from forgotten toys, puzzle pieces, dollhouse windows, bottle caps, and plastic gears, it stands painted in lavender and mint, soft and chipped from love. A pebble path winds toward it, and beside it sits a tiny mailbox made from a juice bottle lid, waiting for letters from imaginary realms. Above the door, a wooden sliver whispers, "Fairy Post." This isn't store-bought whimsy. It's handcrafted belief. A child once bent low, glue in hand, imagination bursting, and gave these toys new purpose, not to entertain, but to enchant. Here, the garden holds more than flowers. It holds stories. The kind built from leftover bits, from the dusty corners of toy chests and long afternoons of creative silence. Kids pause when they see it. Some whisper, others knock. Parents smile, remembering when they, too, believed in small, hidden worlds. And that's what this is more than decor. It's an invitation to pause, to wonder, to believe again in the unseen. You don't need new materials, just old ones and a little time. A button becomes a doorknob, a Lego brick, a step, a wheel, a welcome mat. Because when toys grow old, they don't have to be thrown away. They can guard fairy tales, they can open doors, and they can remind us that in every corner of the backyard, something might be watching, waiting, ready to welcome us home. In the far corner of the garden, where grass once grew wild and shadows rested longer, something bold now blooms. It is not soft, not fragile, but it is beautiful. A flower, towering, fearless, crafted from the bones of old journeys. Curved bicycle tires, once spinning fast through city streets and countryside lanes, now stretch outward like the petals of a giant blossom. Painted in tones of mint, coral, lavender, and sunrise gold, they catch the eye before the light. At the heart, a glint of old metal, perhaps once part of a gear, now gleams like a sunflower's core. And around it, the garden responds. Real daisies lean closer. Butterflies linger longer. Children point and ask, is it real? In a way, yes. It is real hope, real reuse, real creativity. Because this isn't just a sculpture. It's a reminder that even when the journey ends, something beautiful can begin. Once, these tires carried weight. Now they lift spirits. Once, they moved fast. Now they stand still, but they still serve. At the base of the flower, carved into a sun-faded board, 3 words whisper in wood grain. Petals of the past. And they are worn, weathered, wonderful. So if you ever see an old tire, dusty and abandoned, ask yourself, could this bloom? Could this rise again, not as a wheel, but as wonder? Then grab a brush, some bolts, a little belief, and plant something bold. Along the edge of the garden, where ivy clings tight and jasmine breathes into the breeze, a wall waits, not tall, not grand, but quietly brilliant. At first glance, it seems ordinary. Then, the light shifts. Suddenly, fragments glisten. Not in uniform shine, but in flickers, like memories. They're mirror shards, once shattered, now sacred. Each piece tells a different story. One holds the image of a blooming rose. Another, the brief reflection of a child's smile passing by. Some catch nothing at all, just sky and shadow. And that's enough. Together, they don't create one perfect image. They create hundreds. All imperfect. All real. There's no symmetry here. No polished edges. Just broken glass given grace. The wall doesn't scream for attention. It whispers to the sun, and the sun answers with gold. Garden guests pause, caught in surprise by their own reflection. Distorted, yes, but somehow more alive. Children dance nearby, watching their silhouettes ripple and fragment across the surface like fairy tales in motion. A sign leans into the ivy, nearly hidden. Reflections of magic. And it is, because beauty doesn't always come in wholes. Sometimes it lives in what was once broken. Sometimes the pieces shine brighter than the whole ever could. So if a mirror falls, don't sweep it into a bag of regrets. Wash it, hold it, frame it with care, and place it where the garden meets the light. Let the sun finish what was once a mistake, and let yourself be reflected, not in perfection, but in purpose. They once held clothes, tucked away in wardrobes, bearing weight silently, then cracked, bent, tossed aside. But not here. In this garden, even plastic hangers find purpose again. Intertwined and reimagined, they rise from the soil, linking arm in arm like a gentle chorus of second chances. Painted in soft hues, seafoam, rose, butter yellow, they form the backbone of a trellis that doesn't just support, but celebrates growth. Morning glories climb confidently. Sweet peas curl tenderly around the curves, as if the hangers were made for this purpose all along. The flowers don't seem to mind their odd scaffolding. In fact, they flourish because of it. Sunlight dances between the gaps, and bees pause mid-flight to rest on petals perched between hanger hooks. Every curve becomes a cradle, every corner a lift. Visitors ask, "What's holding up these blooms?" You smile and say, "Something old, given new meaning." There's a quiet message wrapped in every vine, that beauty doesn't always need beauty to begin with. It just needs support. A small wooden tag swings gently on one side, climb and bloom. And they do. So, if you find a pile of old hangers, don't turn away. Turn them into purpose. Paint them. Join them. Plant beside them. Let them lift something living. Because in the right place, even the ordinary can bloom into the extraordinary. And even the forgotten can become the frame for something wild, tender, and full of color. It once held quiet mornings. Steam rising. Fingers curled gently around porcelain. Conversations whispered between sips of tea and time. Now it sits beneath branches instead of shelves. A teacup, once part of a Sunday ritual, now turned to welcome feathered guests. Tilted gently toward the sky, the saucer no longer catches drips of honey, but the soft fall of seeds. The crack along its edge isn't a flaw now. It's charm. Perched upon a wooden stake or hanging delicately by jute from a tree limb, it waits patiently. Not for sugar cubes, but for songbirds. A robin lands lightly. A finch follows. And soon, the garden hums with wing beats and tiny chirps, a tea party without tablecloths or time. The floral print on the cup fades into the real petals below, lavender, chamomile, and the soft rustle of wild thyme. It's as if the cup has bloomed into the garden it always longed to live in. Nearby, a sign swings gently in the wind. Afternoon tea for birds. And it is. Not just a feeder, but a moment reimagined. Because beauty doesn't end when usefulness fades. It shifts. It opens its arms to another purpose. So, next time you find a chipped teacup, don't sigh. Don't store it away. Give it a new chapter. Mount it, fill it, lift it into the breeze. And wait. The birds will come. And they will thank you in music. Beneath the hush of the afternoon sun, where petals sway like laughter and the breeze hums like memory, stands a little well. It draws no water, only wonder. Crafted from a dented old bucket and a few planks of weathered wood, it might not seem like much, but someone saw a story waiting inside it. Painted with soft sky blue and blushed with pastel strokes, it now overflows, not with weight or worry, but with blooms. Petunias cascade from the rim like secrets whispered into the wind. Marigolds burst in cheerful color like wishes just made. Ivy climbs the wooden roof like old hopes trying to find their way home. Above it, swaying gently in the breeze, a sign reads simply, "Make a wish." And people do. Some whisper, some close their eyes, some smile quietly and move on, the magic settling in their chest like sunlight. This isn't just a planter. It's a promise that what we discard might bloom again, that something old, something forgotten, can be made to hold beauty once more. No tools of gold, no craftsman's table, just hands that believe and time that slows down enough to care. So if you ever find an old bucket, dull with rust, don't turn away. Rinse it, paint it, plant joy inside it. Build it a roof from wood no longer used. Let it live again, because in this garden, dreams don't wait in wells for water. They bloom where love has been poured instead. Along the garden fence, where vines used to stretch in solitude, something now lands, brilliant and bold. A butterfly, but not of silk or feather. One born from scraps, from what the world had tossed aside. Its wings stretch wide across the wooden wall, each curve built from bottle caps once twisted, dented, discarded. Coral, sky blue, sunburst yellow, dozens, no, hundreds, painted by patient hands, placed with care like scales on a living creature. From a distance, it looks almost real. From up close, it's a revolution. Each cap tells a story of drinks shared, of picnics passed, of waste reclaimed. Now they speak together, not as trash, but as transformation. Around the mural, roses lean as if in awe. Bees drift close, maybe believing for a moment that this butterfly might flutter after all. Children stare. Adults pause, because something inside stirs when we witness beauty born from what was forgotten. A wooden plaque below the wings reads, "From trash to wings." And that's exactly what it is. It's not just decoration, it's declaration. That reuse can be radiant. That even discarded things, when given time, color, and care, can fly again. So next time your hands hover over a bottle cap before the bin, ask instead, could this be a wing? And if the answer feels even slightly like yes, paint it, place it, let it land where others can see what you saw. Because sometimes the most beautiful things begin in the broken. Once they held faces, smiles now softened by time, moments frozen behind glass. Now the frames hold something else, life that moves. Hung gently along a sun-kissed garden wall, these worn picture frames have been reborn. No longer showcasing portraits, but petals. No more memories, now blooming stories. Painted in pastel shades that have peeled and faded with grace, each frame cradles flowers like art. Pansies peeking shyly, ivy curling with abandon, moss hugging the corners like nostalgia never quite let go. There's no perfection here, just beauty in letting go. The wooden edges crack gently under years of weather, and somehow, that only makes them softer, more human, more real. A breeze stirs, and the blooms sway inside their frames as if breathing. Bees hum past, and butterflies drift near, not to admire the art, but to be part of it. Beneath the display, etched onto an old plank, are 3 quiet words, framed by nature. And so they are. Because this isn't just a gallery, it's a gesture. A reminder that you don't need canvas or oil paints to create beauty. You need time, tenderness, and maybe a frame willing to try again. So if you find an old picture frame, it's glass cracked or long gone, don't throw it out. Fill it. Hang it. Let it hold something wild. Because sometimes what we frame doesn't freeze life, it frees it. Tucked in a quiet corner of the garden, where the wind moves slower and the soil hums with promise, stands a house. Not built from bricks, not glass, but from yesterday's thirst, bottles once emptied and discarded. Now, stitched together with care, they form walls that catch the sun and hold it gently. This is a greenhouse made not from money, but from meaning. Inside, basil reaches for the light. Parsley stretches quietly. Tomato seedlings lean toward the warmth, unaware that their shelter once lay forgotten in recycling bins. Above, a single solar lamp glows. Not bright, not loud, but steady. A small sun trapped in a bottle, giving back what it once received. The structure isn't perfect. Some bottles are cloudy. Some still wear their faded labels. But perhaps that's what makes it feel more alive. Around the greenhouse, calendula nods like approval. Time trails slowly along the edges. A wooden sign leans nearby, hand-painted with a gentle reminder. Grow lightly. And it does. This little space doesn't just grow food. It grows patience, resourcefulness, humility. It teaches that sustainability isn't a trend. It's a rhythm. So, if you have bottles, wash them. Cut them. Shape them into windows of warmth. Build a space not just for plants, but for perspective. Because sometimes the most powerful light in a garden isn't from the sun itself, but from what we choose to do with it. When the rain begins, soft, steady, unhurried, it finds a path not of pipe or plastic, but of color. Dangling from the roof's edge, a rain chain sways in rhythm, handmade from bottle caps once forgotten. Each cap, once twisted open without thought, now sings with water. Linked together by wire and wonder, they catch the droplets like soft applause. Metal touching rain, rain touching memory. Painted in hues of joy, coral, turquoise, mustard. They spin gently in the breeze. As the water slips from one to another, it carries sound, a whisper, a chime, a hush. At the bottom, a moss-ringed basin receives it all. Around it, ferns stretch and smile. The soil breathes in the rhythm of hydration. And somewhere nearby, a wooden sign sways gently. Rain's journey. Because that's what it is. Not just a drainage tool, but a movement made meaningful. This rain chain doesn't rush the water. It honors it, guides it, transforms it from nuisance into nature's lullaby. And it teaches us, too, that beauty doesn't come from what something is, but from what it's allowed to become. So next time you hold a bottle cap before it disappears into the bin, pause. Could it catch the rain? Could it sing? If the answer is maybe, thread it, paint it, hang it, and wait for the next storm to play its song. It once stretched across backyards, holding towels, linens, soft cotton swaying in the wind. Now it holds something else, something rooted, something rising. The old laundry wire, once taught with chore and routine, has found peace in a quieter task, supporting life. Fastened gently against the garden wall, its crisscross frame becomes a ladder, not for laundry, but for leaves. Morning glories reach slowly upward. Sweet peas curl tenderly around the squares, as if tracing memory in every bend. Rust clings to a few corners, but no one minds. The wire is steady. It doesn't need to be perfect to be dependable. Below, marigolds whisper joy into the soil. Basil leans close. Time stretches under the grid's shade like an old friend at rest. A small plank hangs in the middle. Climb with grace. And they do. Because plants, like people, don't always need control. They just need structure. Room to grow. Space to wrap around something that holds without holding back. This isn't just a DIY trellis. It's a quiet invitation for nature to find its shape. For discarded things to offer support once more. So when you see an old laundry rack, bent or forgotten, Don't look away.
Paint it.
Anchor it. Plant something near. Watch how even the most utilitarian tools can become poetic when placed beside a seed. Because sometimes growth doesn't come from the ground up, but from what we choose to lean on. They once held soup, beans, maybe fruit, lined in quiet rows behind pantry doors, forgotten when emptied. But here in this garden, the tin cans rise again. Stacked high, painted with joy, they reach upward like laughter frozen mid-bloom. Each can tell a chapter, lemon yellow with daisied, its sky blue swirling like summer winds, coral orange humming with hand-drawn suns. Together, they form a totem, not sacred, but spirited. Not solemn, but celebratory. The totem doesn't speak, but it sings. In color, in height, in the way children run to it with fingers stretched and questions dancing in their eyes. Bees hover, butterflies rest, and nearby, nestled in the soil, a sign leans with quiet pride, totem of joy. And it is. Because joy here isn't loud. It's layered, one can on top of another. One idea resting on a second chance. The structure isn't perfect. Some cans are dented, some tilt slightly, but the beauty lives in the imbalance. In the hands that saw not garbage, but gallery. And that's the heart of this garden. It doesn't ask for perfection, only imagination. So, next time you rinse out a tin can, don't throw it away.
Paint it.
Stack it.
Smile at it.
Let it rise where flowers bloom and bees hum. Because sometimes the best things we build don't come from the store. They come from the bin, touched by a brush, lifted by a little belief. Hidden between foxgloves and fern, where sunlight filters like whispers and silence feels sacred, the garden holds a secret. It shimmers, not loudly, but with intention. A portal, not made of stone or spell, but of broken mirror shards, each one curved and carefully placed to form a gentle arch against the trunk of an old tree. They catch the light differently, some reflecting sky, some flower, some just fragments of a face passing by. You don't walk through it, you imagine through it. Tiny lights flicker from beneath the moss, though no wires are visible. The reflections don't show exactly what's behind them, they show possibility. Maybe another garden, maybe another world. Above it, a weathered wooden sign leans forward ever so slightly. In curling script, fairies enter here. Children pause before it, holding their breath. Adults crouch down, as if the closer they get, the more they'll believe again. And that's what this portal does. It doesn't transport, it invites. To remember that magic doesn't disappear, it just changes form. That even broken glass can shimmer with wonder when placed with care. That light doesn't judge what reflects it. It just shows us what could be. So next time a mirror cracks, don't see it as loss. Gather the pieces. Frame a space. Make room for what might return. Because in this garden, the broken isn't dangerous. It's a doorway. And sometimes, all a fairy needs is a glint of welcome. It once sizzled with eggs and echoed breakfast laughter. Now, it ticks gently among the leaves. The old pan, blackened with years and speckled in rust, has found a new rhythm, no longer cooking, but counting. Mounted on the garden wall, its circular frame still solid, it holds not heat but harmony. Soft strokes of pastel paint dance across its surface. Lavender curls, yellow petals, vines of mint that trace the numbers with quiet delight. The hands of the clock sweep slowly, not rushed, not rigid, just moving as the garden moves. Around it, life carries on. Bees buzz. Petals open. The sun drapes across the wall like time stretching its back. Below the clock, a plank leans gently with two hand-painted words, "Time to bloom." And so it is. This isn't just a decoration. It's a transformation. A reminder that time isn't always about schedules or seconds, but about what we make of the moments between. The rust was not removed. It was reimagined as texture as story. Because in this space, flaws are welcome. Scars are celebrated. Every crack in the metal tells a tale. Every tick a testament to still being useful. So next time you find an old pan, burnt, bent, forgotten, don't let it end in silence. Give it new hands. Let it mark new days. Because in the garden, even time can be repurposed. And sometimes, what once cooked for us can teach us how to pause. They used to guard toy chests. Now they guard tomatoes. Once forgotten under beds, buried in closets, and scattered across childhoods, these plastic warriors, ponies, robots, dinosaurs, have found a new frontier, the garden. Repainted in soft tones, mint, coral, sunflower yellow, they stand proudly in the soil. Each bears a new name, handwritten across their chests: basil, lavender, tomato. They are no longer toys. They are markers of life. Nestled between leaves and stems, they carry more than nostalgia. They carry purpose. A tiny T-Rex roars over marigolds. A pastel unicorn leans beside peppermint. A superhero points proudly toward time. Children come closer, not to play but to learn. What's this one called? That's basil, someone says. The dinosaur told me. And in that moment, the garden grows something more than plants, it grows wonder. A wooden sign waves gently nearby, scrawled in simple letters: grow and play. Because that's what this is about. Not perfection, but presence. Not expensive tools, but imagination repurposed. The scratches on the toys remain, the worn-out eyes, the faded legs. But somehow that makes them even more fitting. They've lived stories, and now they help plants write their own. So the next time you step on a forgotten toy and think it's trash, stop. Pick it up, brush it off, give it a new mission. Because in this garden, even plastic has roots, and every marker is a memory ready to bloom again.